welcome to the PALEYFEST Fall TV Previews. I'm Brent Lang, Executive Editor at Variety, and I'm delighted to be your host for this special conversation celebrating the new HBO original drama series, Task. Today I'm thrilled to welcome members of the series cast and creative team. Joining us are series stars Emilia Jones as Maeve Prendergrast, Tom Pelphrey as Robbie Prendergrast, and creator, showrunner, writer, and executive producer Brad Ingelsby. Welcome, everyone. Let's start our program. So to begin with, Brad, after Mare of Easttown was such a big success, how long did it take you to kind of figure out what your follow-up might be?
Yeah, it took a little while, Brent. I think it was trying to figure out a story that I felt I shouldn't even say a story. It was a character that would move me, and it took a little while. I think I went down a couple roads that didn't have any success, and then when I came up with Tom and Robbie as characters, it felt like that was fertile soil to explore a genre piece. In this case, a crime thriller, but also a piece that I felt could have really, emotional arcs, and I could explore the terrain that I explored in Mare, which was the interior lives of people in a specific community. So it took a little while, but when I landed on Tom and Robbie, it felt like I'm starting to get at the source of something. And when I pitched it to HBO, they loved the idea. And together we worked on it, and we expanded the world. So, yeah, it was a process, as they all are,
You said expanded the world. Do you see this as taking place very much in the same kind of universe as Mare?
I think it is. It's a broader canvas than Mare. I think Mare was very much about a specific community, and it was Mare and the people in her orbit, really, her family and her friends from high school, and that was what that show was about. A woman who kind of had the added strain of having to investigate crimes that were committed by people that she knew and cared about and had a rich history with. I think Task is set in the same world, literally the same world. I mean, we shot in some of the same streets we shot Mare on, especially in Coatesville, and it's set in the same world, but it's a much different story. Just in terms of its structure, it's not a whodunit; it's a collision course. But also, I think it's a broader piece. We're dealing with a few separate families. It's Tom Brandis, it's Robbie and Maeve, it's the bikers, it's the task force, which kind of is its own kind of family unit. And so what I was interested in was a collision course story, and a collision course that would include these families.
Emilia, how did this project come to you, and what appealed to you about playing Maeve?
I mean, so much appealed to me. I was a big fan of Brad and his writing, and I loved Mare of Easttown. I first had a conversation with Brad about the project, and I remember I was really nervous before my Zoom when I was talking to Brad, because I was like, oh my God, it's Brad Ingelsby. I was like so excited to talk to him. I was like, Mare of Easttown. And then we had a really great conversation about Maeve and about the project, and then I went away and I read some of the scripts before auditioning, and I mean, I just jumped at the chance to audition. I think Maeve is such an amazing character. She's so complex and layered, as all of the characters are. I think Brad does such an amazing job at such rich backstories with all the characters. And I just really loved that she was shouldering such responsibility and she was so stuck. It kind of came to me at a point in my life where I was feeling a bit stuck. I've been ill for a while, and I just, felt a bit down about the world, and so did Maeve, and so I really wanted to play her. And I'm so grateful that Brad let me
it was easy.
play her.
It was easy. It was an easy choice, trust me.
Tom, what about you? How did you find out about this project and get involved?
Yeah, well, they sent me the script to read, and I was immediately blown away. I was enthralled. I was deeply moved by the character of Robbie and the situation he found himself in, and I was also desperate to get more scripts. Because part of what Brad executed so brilliantly was at the end of every episode you go, Come on, come on.
I love that.
Oh, yeah. There are certain things, as soon as you look at them, you go, oh, yes, please, let me be a part of this.
Did you both sort of understand how to play those parts, or did that take a little while to kind of figure out your way into the characters?
You get like, well, who knows how many you get, God willing, many more. But I think it's rare. But every now and then you get something, I think, when you read it, or at least in my experience, you read it and you just go, I get it. And I did feel that way about this and about Robbie. There was something about him that I felt like I understood deeply, immediately. And certainly you grow from there and you learn from there and you have conversations from there. But the essence of who he was, I felt like made sense to me from jump in a way that is not usually the case.
What about you, Emilia?
Yeah, for me, exactly the same. I definitely felt connected to Maeve, and I really understood all the emotions that she was feeling. But at the same time, it was quite nice because I had such a strong foundation of who she is and what she was going through. But then when I arrived in Philly 2 weeks early, and I started going to bars in Delaware County and listening to the accent, and that kind of made me understand how Maeve grew up even more. And then working with Megan, our costume designer, too. And the minute I put on these really big rings on every finger, and I pierced my ears like crazy for this TV show, and she gave me these big hoops, and I just suddenly had such a strong idea of who Maeve was. And that it was really fun to just, as I started working with everybody, and when I met Brad and Tom, it was exciting because it kept growing, the excitement of playing this character.
Who came up with the hairstyle for Maeve?
Me. And I think I slightly regret it, actually. I'm still recovering from the mullet. No, I just felt like Maeve internalizes a lot of her emotions, and she's losing her sense of identity, and I felt like having the mullet was like her being like, this is me. I need to kind of keep hold of who I am, even though I'm feeling so lost and stuck in this cycle of picking up messes and trying to care for these children. And so I kind of did like a half mullet, and then when I arrived on set and we were getting close to filming, I was like, no, I've got to commit. So I did. Yeah.
You did.
I did. And I deeply regret it, I think.
It
was cool. I felt like I was going to look like a bass player in a girl band, but I just didn't. There wasn't the vibe.
Mark Ruffalo is so great in the show. Unfortunately, he's sick, so he couldn't be with us today. But did you write the role for Mark, or how did you kind of...
No, I never really write with one person in mind, Brent, and that's just I would say a practical thing, because it's, when you get attached to one actor and then you have a script done and you say, it's got to be this actor, and they say, well, he's busy for 5 years or something. But when you start to look at the character of Tom, a person you believe that was a parish priest in the Northeast, a theologian, and now a cop, a father. It's funny, you start to put those qualities down on paper, and then you go, who's able to pull those off convincingly? And the list becomes very small. And so Mark was at the top of our list, and I went to have, I think it was here in New York, we met with Mark. And he had read the first 3 scripts, and we talked to him. It was me and Jeremiah. He was with us, our director, and we talked him through some ideas we had for the character. And by the time we left, he was like, I'm in. And I think it's now that I've seen the show, now that I've worked with Mark, I can't imagine anybody else playing the part. But I think a part of that is, I think Mark as a person has a lot of the characteristics that Tom as a character has, and that's a lot of compassion, kindness, and so now it seems like a no-brainer. At the time, we had a very short list, and Mark was the top of it. And I also think it's incredibly humble performance, because a lot of his struggle is internal. And he's reacting to people in his orbit. He's reacting to his daughters, the tug of war that's going on at home. He's reacting to the task force, a very inexperienced group of people. He's chasing after Robbie, who's driving a lot of the action of the show. and I think Mark is such a humble person, and he's such a humble actor, and I just, I can't imagine anyone else being able to pull it off the way he was in the show.
And extremely generous.
Yes, absolutely.
He is such a generous actor. To be on set with him, to be in a scene with him, he is holding space. He is like encouraging you silently to shine and explore and try things, and incredibly generous actor.
Yeah.
Obviously, we don't want to spoil anything, but you don't share the screen very much, although you're both kind of on parallel tracks. So what was it like to actually have that encounter and to film those sequences with him?
It was really special. I mean, on one level, it was it was so interesting. It's always interesting to me to see actors who I admire and have admired, to see how they show up to work, and then wonder, like, is this how they always show up to work, or is this how they're showing up to this job? Because sometimes a different job is a different feel, and you want to just be kind of living in a different part of yourself, because it'll just make it easier for you and everybody around you to do the thing. And Mark, he's so silly.
Yeah.
He's so
He is.
silly and present and
Joyful.
like wide-eyed. Yeah.
He's like so happy to be on set. He's not like remotely
Yeah.
jaded.
Yeah, no. It was so wonderful. It was such a it was just such a positive, silly energy. And it was very instructive. And then of course action and there he is. And I asked him about it, just out of my own curiosity, and again, he was generous with his personal time as well. We sat there for I think an hour one day, even when we were done working, and I was like, have you always been this way? And he said no. He's like, I used to be more like you. But I understood what he meant. It's like, I feel the need to just focus a bit more, just out of a sense of my feeling of responsibility that I don't want to let anyone down. And Mark's like, look, it's just, you do it for so long that at a certain point, it's just easier and easier to trust that you won't let anyone down, and then you can enjoy it more and more. And so, like, as an actor who's looked up to Mark for a long time, and also, like, just at a different stage in my journey, it was really beautiful to see how Mark, showed up, and how the way he showed up allowed for a generosity of spirit that is absolutely something I want to be emulating. So it was a very cool experience for me. I learned a lot.
Emilia and Tom, you have such a lived-in relationship on the show. You really believe that you are related, that you cohabitate. What kind of preparation did you do? How did you work together to kind of establish that rapport?
I mean, I think we got really lucky. We got on really well, but also we were able to hang out, and I love Tom so much. I think he's just so fun, and I think he's just so talented. I was constantly like in awe, and I really look up to him, like as an actor, but also as a person. He was really helping me in all life on set, but what I was going through, and he's just such an amazing person. And so I definitely felt so much love towards Tom, which I think really helped in the scenes that we had. And he was just so fun to work with too. I was just always so excited, and like there was a scene on the porch when I had to throw something in Tom's face, and he was like, yeah, you can throw it in my face when the camera's not on me. Things like, he's just so giving as an actor, and it really made me respect him and love him. And I was so grateful that we could hang out off set and on set.
Yeah. I was blown away by Emilia's preparation and her maturity and her work ethic. Everything about her from the jump, I could not believe it was so present and lived in someone so young. And I hope that doesn't sound condescending. No. I really just kind of blown away. So had a lot of respect for her. Then she came over to the house, and my daughter had hard eyes for her. And Kelly and I were like, oh, Emilia's the cool girl. And my daughter loves a cool girl.
It was the mullet. Yeah.
But Matilda really liked the idea of hanging out with Emilia. And so on all levels, I'd say we bonded.
And Tom invited everybody over for
Yes.
a pool party when we were shooting, which was the coolest ever. I was like, yeah, my uncle's cool. Yeah. And we had a great time. We were all so close. It was a lovely feeling. We were all in Philly together, and we would hang out on the weekends. I mean, we went bowling to bond with the kids.
Yes.
At the very beginning.
Right.
Tom smoked us all. It was very... He's a bowler.
Hey, we're here to win, kids. This is what winning looks like.
Did you all compare notes about the dialect too and the accent? Did you?
And that's what we first bonded
We did.
over.
That was our first commiseration.
Because we both landed into Philly and then met up immediately, and
Yep.
I was like, I'm like bricking it. I'm breaking. Like I'm so nervous.
What does that mean, bricking it?
It's British, maybe.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm so nervous for this accent.
Okay,
like
okay.
it's all I've been thinking about for ages, and now I'm like here in the place. And,
Yeah.
and we bonded over how hard the accent was, but like.
And then we were texting each other updates. Like if I felt like I had breaking news, I was like, hey, this thing Suzanne's been saying every day, but now it just finally makes sense to me. I'm going to act like it's new. Do this.
yeah. Or like sending things. Like we'd both be like Googling, Delco videos, and we'd be sending things back and forth. And
If you dive deep enough, you can find a few authentic ones on YouTube.
yeah.
There was a morning show once, a news program, where a guy comes out. He looked like he just got out of bed. There'd been a fire down the street, and they interview him, and he has the full accent, and it was delightful. Like this is my guy.
So many of the characters, you really understand where they're coming from. Even Robbie does things that we may not approve of, but you get why he's doing them. How important was it for you to really kind of treat these people who maybe live on the margins of society or engage in aberrant behavior, to treat them with some compassion too?
Yeah, I think that's really that's like always where it starts, Brent, is to look at a character and try to understand how they got there, and not just understand it, but try to find some common ground. And I think that's how I try to approach every character in the show, even the bikers in a way. Because I've found that in my own life, why is this person acting this way, or why are they treating this person the way they are? And it's always comes from something. It's born of something. And what is that thing? And I think that's part of my process as a writer is trying to get at the source of it. Like even with the character like Lizzie, I think what was interesting to me about her, the Alison Oliver character, is I have lots of people in my life, friends who are, who go to work every day and they do jobs that maybe they don't like or don't really have anything that they feel passionate about. And so what was interesting to me about Lizzie was like, I haven't been able to find my one thing in life that I'm passionate about. And I find that to be such a common, it's something that we've all experienced. What is my thing in life? I don't have the thing I'm most passionate about. And I think that, in terms of Lizzie, was such a relatable thing that she just hasn't, she's kind of wandered around, but she hasn't been able to locate the one thing that, that gives her peace or joy or happiness or something that she's good at even. And so I think it's looking for those things within each character that we can relate to. With Robbie, it's a sense of family, it's a sense of brotherhood. I have brothers, so that was easy for me to tap into. With, a character like Maeve, she's trying to find her own life. She doesn't have an identity, and she's kind of been in, it's through no issue of her own that she's been kind of stuck in a corner, and she has to break free. And so, it's trying to approach every character with a level of compassion, and that's really my goal, is try to write everybody with honesty and hopefully authenticity.
Did that help with, like, when you're dealing with Robbie and trying to sort of figure out what brought him to this place? I mean, did you feel that there had been this rich backstory?
Yeah. It makes your life infinitely easier. Well, but I mean, there's times with certain characters where, as an actor, you're making things up in a dark room to scrounge up some kind of motivation for yourself to justify what you're doing and what you need to be doing in the service of the story. Now, then there's other times where maybe the writer, the director will talk to you about things that the audience will never know. And that can be helpful for yourself, but it doesn't always line up right. What's incredible about Brad, and not just for Robbie, but I found when I was reading the scripts for every single character, that he's built into the dynamic of the story the explanation of the why. Like he allows for you to have time to live in that in front of the audience as part of the story, which helps. God, it helps so much, I think, with the audience being able to relate to the character if you even get to spend a little time like that with the characters versus, you know, it's so telling, I think, when you say that you're writing from character first, you know, and it's so amazing too that you can end up where you do, which could feel in such a genre piece with such a tight plot and such an exciting sequence of events that you're coming from character, but that always shines through, and as an actor, that's paradise. You know, and I found that when I finally got to watch the show, I mean, I was seeing you in real time. She is so incredible in the show. And every day we got to work together, I'm like, man, I need to go home and do more work. But then I got to see everybody's work at the end recently, and I was so impressed with the work everybody did. And I think that's a credit to how Brad writes.
1000%.
It's there for the taking if you want it, and I don't know a good actor who doesn't.
Does it help? You have some great scenes, Emilia, where they're not dialogue heavy, but you totally understand what your character is doing and what they're going through. Does it help to kind of have that rootedness in character and that, you know, to be able to pull something like that off?
For sure. I mean, I feel like a lot of the time you're starting a project and you're like, oh, I really hope we have rehearsal time, or I really hope I get to sit down with the director or, you know, the creator or the writer or whatever. And on this, I really didn't feel like that was so necessary to me because there's so much already there on the page. And I just felt so lucky when I was like on the flight over going, oh my God, this is like all right in front of me and we can just all now dive in and try and make Brad as proud as possible because he's so amazing. And I just love that Task isn't like good guy versus bad guy. You know, it's like life is so complicated and people are complicated, as Brad said. And it's like a lot of the circumstances, you know, it's situational and it's complex, and people, you know, we don't really know what we're doing in life sometimes. And I feel like everyone's just trying to, you know, react off new people and react off what they're being given in life. Like Robbie, I mean, he's such a lovely guy and he's got such a love for his family, but he's just been dealt a bad card in life. And so, yeah, for me, it was just like, I really loved Robbie and I loved Maeve, and so it was very kind of fun to explore. I mean, it was complex, you know, it was a challenge, but I love a challenge. All these people are complicated and challenging, and so it was, you know, hard every day to go, am I conveying every single emotion that is required in this scene? Because it was never just one note, which is why I think it's such a great show to watch, because everyone's just feeling so many different emotions at one point, and we're all just trying to get through what's being thrown at us.
Obviously, this is a story that has been with you for a while, that you've been working on for a while, and then you give it over to great actors. And what happens at that point? Do they find things that surprise you about the characters that you've created that maybe you didn't even know about them?
You know, I love that. I think that's always such a fun part of the process, Brent. I've spoken to other writers who kind of are scared of that process, but I feel really, I feel like eventually you have to give it up, because if you want the best work out of the actors, they have to have an ownership over the part. It can't just be me going, no, you're supposed to say this, you have to say it like this, because it's been my experience that when actors have ownership over a part or a character, they're able to bring a layer or more than one layer that I'm not able to have on the page. And so I'm excited by that part of the process. I get excited to hear what Emilia has to say about Maeve, or Tom has to say about Robbie, because they're also bringing they're bringing some of themselves to the part that all of us are different, and Maeve, or Emilia's going to bring something to Maeve that I'm not going to be able to articulate, because she's a daughter, or she's got a mom, or Tom just had a baby. You know, so there are parts of these characters that I can only go to a certain level, and then you have to turn it over to the actors. And the joy for me is that I pass the baton. And when you get a great actor, you know, when you get actors like these guys here, they're able to elevate the parts in ways that I can't. Like, I think Emilia's so, like, there's so much humor in her performance. I know there's a lot of resentment, but there's so much humor. I think what Tom is able to do with Robbie, it's who he is as a person, is there's such a tremendous, like, there's a kind of childlike wonder about Robbie and a joy that he brings to the part. And some of that's in the quarry, you see it, but I love the part of the process where I turn it over to the actor. And I can still be vigilant about what the scene needs or what the character arc needs, but that doesn't mean it's not a collaboration. And to me, collaboration is I love that part of the process. I welcome that part of the process. I want these guys to have ownership over the parts.
Well, on behalf of the Paley Center, thank you for joining us for this special PALEYFEST Fall TV Previews conversation for HBO's Task. New episodes of Task debut Sunday nights on HBO and are available to stream on HBO Max. You can enjoy more of these programs by clicking the subscribe button below. Thanks.